Okay.
So anyways, I'm finger blasting this fat chick, right?
Yeah.
Oh shit, we're recording now.
Oh shit. Sorry. Erase.
Anyways, her mom walks in and says, "Those are my mashed potatoes," and her glass eye pops out.
Oh, is that what you said?
That's what you said.
Yeah.
So, don't be nasty.
Oh man. Yeah. So that's fun. We got to tell Jake about the fucking TikTok thing we found and the Reddit story of the music, the guy playing the music. We'll tell
that thing blew up so much more than what it really needed to be.
Right? I'll see if I can find it real quick so that we can send it to him. But yeah, we're gonna have to tell him that. Do we have any other things to talk about this week?
Well, I had.
We get to talk about the beginning of tailgate.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yeah. Let's not talk about the beginning of football.
What?
It starts
It's
this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starts this week.
Oh, here it is. Okay, I found it. Okay, so there's the story. Let me see if I can find the song that goes with it. I'm gonna tell you the story anyway, but I'm gonna see if I can find the song.
No.
Oh, yep, there it is.
Hawk story.
The what?
Isn't it Hudson Hawk or something like that?
It's something like that, yeah.
What's that say?
POV, you're the Reddit dude's girlfriend. Yeah, you're gonna find out what that means when we start the show. Or whenever we get to it. It's fun. Yeah, so did you notice how I edited last week's Dave saying, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, no, it was last week, where he says what he got called in class.
Oh, first day of school in Oregon?
Like Katie shits all over herself.
Yeah, I didn't hear
No, it's blank. You don't hear anything. So you just hear, she goes, "Hey!" And then you hear me laughing a lot.
Yeah.
You could have just left the stare hard part.
You didn't say that part. I don't think. I only cut out the one word. Let me see if I can find it. But if you watch the video on YouTube, where you guys can be watching this, you'll see, like, there's a spot where we're talking and Dave says something, but there's no audio, and then you can see, if you can read lips, you can figure out what word it was.
Right.
But stare hard, and then the other word, that's your hint.
My mouth doesn't open very much when I talk, and I've got a mustache, so I don't know.
So who wants a ride?
Yep. Oh, I mean, that reminds me of when I met my brother-in-law's daughter.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So living up in Washington, my sister tells me, "Hey, Angelica is coming to visit." I say, "Okay, that's cool. No problem." I get home from work one day, and I walk in, and she's sitting there with my sister and brother-in-law. I'm like, "Hey, I'm David." And if you've ever heard a deaf person speak, you immediately know that they're deaf.
Oh, is she deaf?
Yep.
Because I haven't heard her speak, so.
Yep, she's deaf. My sister did not tell me about that part.
Oh, okay.
So I was really nervous that that look on my face was that of surprise and maybe a little bit of confusion.
Yeah.
And so later on, my brother-in-law is showing his daughter where she's going to be staying.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking to my sister. I was like, "Hey, thanks for the heads up." She's like, "What? I told you she was coming." I was like, you didn't tell me she was deaf, so I didn't feel like a jackass when I don't look at her when I speak."
See, I have a very similar problem, but it's unexpected dwarf syndrome. Like, if there's a midget that comes out, like, if I see one and I'm not ready for it, like, I'm not expecting, like, I can't help myself but laugh.
Right.
Like I went and saw Brad Williams, and I was ready for that because I knew that he was a little. I knew he was going to be like. But if the person before him had come out, and was also like I would have fucking
Right.
died from the moment. Like I was like, imagine having another little person opener for Brett. Like that's funny on another level.
It would
Usually
be a little
the lower level.
surprise.
All right, I got to listen to the song now.
See if you can make it play through the speaker.
All right, I'm sure I can.
Oh, here. Yeah, we can find the original too. No, that's not it. What did I
Yeah, it is.
send? Oh, no, send it. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's it. It's the worst song ever. Jake, look up.
Wait.
Please stop. Please make it stop. Please.
Oh my god! And yeah, you
Oh.
could definitely tell that's a dun 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 dun. You
Uh-huh.
could definitely tell, and you could definitely see it in his eyes. You could definitely tell. You could see it in his eyes too. That he was doing the song.
Hey, it's
Larry?
Larry Grady.
Oh, answer it. Hello, Larry. It's the goddamn cops.
We'd like to welcome Larry Grady to the show today, folks.
No, I don't think he can hear us though.
Leftover
no,
Larry Grady.
Larry can't
Yeah.
hear you guys.
Well,
Oh, I'm I'm doing the podcast with the guys right now. Yeah.
yeah.
Day early, day late, whatever. Let me call you back. Are you gonna be up around 9? I can just shoot you back a call tomorrow around 5.
No.
Sure. Sounds good, brother.
Shooting back calls.
All right, later, brother. Day night.
That's one of those phrases that bugs me.
Oh, here, you say, I got you on speaker right next to the mic. Say it.
Go Ducks.
Yeah.
Fuck Ohio State. Fuck Alabama. More importantly, fuck Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell him, Larry.
Tell him,
Oh,
Larry.
all right. All right, brother. Yeah, I'll give you a call tomorrow. I cuss all the time. They have to blank me out a lot of times.
It's only on certain words.
Yeah, it's only the time that you say racial slurs.
Like
I have not once used a racial slur.
maggot starting with an F. That's one we don't use.
Yep.
Have I used that? I've probably said that.
Have.
Can't blank out when I used Asian slurs.
Oh, I can do
That's almost
whatever I want.
that's almost more racist that you
It's like
delete my
counter-racist.
Asian. That you delete my Asian
Right.
slurs because you're a
Unnecessary
white man.
censorship.
Well, can I call other Italians like spaghetti bender? Can I do that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that a racial term? I've never heard that.
You never heard spaghetti bender?
Mm-mm.
No,
I
they
would have
got.
not thought that was offensive.
I mean, there's also the Jewish ones.
Yeah, those I know.
Those are easy. Everybody knows those. There's a reason for that.
One that pisses me off is people think it's offensive to call people Mexicans. I'm like, that's
Mhm.
the nationality they are. That's not offensive.
They're from Mexico.
It's like calling
Except
them Canadians.
It's offensive. It's offensive to call someone from like El Salvador a Mexican, but if they're from Mexico,
Right.
they're Mexican.
All different kinds of Mexicans. though.
Unless you're
That's-
Joe Biden, then you just think all brown people are Mexican.
Exactly.
Well, as long as you get the Latino vote, the
Nope.
the Latin Latinx.
Latinx. Is it the Latinx?
That one took me a while to figure out
Or
what they were talking
Latinx?
about. Yeah, the Latinx thing. Because I took Spanish and you just say Latino.
Yeah, that had
And-
never.
Or
And
Latina.
they're yeah, but like the general term is
Yeah.
So then they're like, oh, you can't do that because you're gonna offend somebody.
They're just making up words for. It's a bunch of white people making up words for colored people.
I don't think
try
you
to
can call them colored.
I
Yeah.
can't. I am a colored person.
The color guard's
Right.
colored.
And now Jesse Owens.
Oh man.
When my brother and we went to this podcast thing, and it was a gate that everyone had to go through to get out, and I was like, oh man, someone's got to go back and get a shitload of dimes.
Oh.
And I will drink to that. Oh.
Yep. Trying to think. The only thing that's
First
going
drink.
on in my world is like Bailey lives on my couch.
I was wondering about that today. I was like, how long is Bales gonna just be like, hey, king of the couch, what's up?
Well, Bales is like a narcoleptic, so like we'll be sitting watching TV, and maybe this is better served for the show, but like we'll be sitting watching TV, and we'll and then I'll look over and he's just like,
Dad in the chair over there.
Dad in the chair, and just like I'm like, all right, man. And so like I'll just start doing what I want to do, and it'll be like 11 o'clock, and he'll adjust and he'll roll over, and then he'll wake up and he'll kind of look over at me, and I'll kind of look over at him. He'll like roll over, go back to sleep. Then like half an hour later, he'll wake up and he'll sit up, and that's the time that I know, okay, now it's time for me to go to bed.
Right.
So yeah, there was an incident. We were watching the Clemson game. We both fell asleep on the couch. That was a bad situation. No quality control whatsoever.
Right. Just free sleeping over there.
Just both of us assed out. Just fucking too high for our own good.
Yep.
Because also, yeah,
he's watching football and cuddling dudes,
Yep. Just we go into the 2-minute offense and see if we can score. If we can stick it in the end zone.
Yep, we gotta break the line.
We gotta bust through the lines. Gotta bust through the A-holes and the B-holes.
I'm so excited for footballs.
Oh, we're gonna murder these fucking fucks from Eastern Washington. I think it's fucked up that they saw that we put our team color on the field as our grass, and they're like, oh, we can do that too.
Exactly. A bunch of cheaters, copycats.
It's just dumb.
We should get golden grass.
We should get like color changing grass.
I thought that was going to be a thing. Like the lines, do the LEDs in the lines. That would be so fucking cool.
Fiber optic turf.
Yeah.
What if and the guy with the ball like has footsteps behind him from like where he steps?
Ooh, what is that on Call of Duty?
Tracker,
yeah, add tracker like on Call of Duty. So you see where the guy ran. That would be cool. But only the guy that has the ball. So you have to be able to track the ball. I like it.
And his feet.
Well, they've already been trying to do that with they put a chip in the ball apparently in the preseason or like in the something or other. I heard something about that.
I know the NFL tried it in preseason a few years ago so that they could tell if the ball broke the goal line, which I was like, thank you. But why haven't they just done that full time?
Because apparently it just throws off the weight of the ball.
Put one in each end.
Apparently it throws off the weight of the ball.
This is 2022.
I don't believe that.
We can put tracking chips in dogs and
right. That was my thought. Like they're putting trackers in our COVID shots. They can't track a football.
Yeah.
Cut that.
Leave it in. Oh man.
All right, man. Are you ready for a good ass show?
Yeah. Yeah. Piss off, Ghost.
Piss off, Ghost. Cool.
My name is Dave.
Here we are. We're back again. It's another edition. It's another episode of my show. And he's not your Uber driver for the night, and he's already introduced himself. It's Dave.
So yeah, this is like not like a regular podcast. It's like a freaky podcast.
Freaky podcast. Excellent. Well, I'm glad that you're here. We've also been joined, we've been blessed, we've been graced by the man behind the whole machine, the head proprietor of the YouTube movement, where you can find our podcast and video versions of us looking as only we can look. We're having trouble holding these gators down. It's Robin.
Many blessings to you. Thank you.
It's very good. It's very
And also to you.
Yeah, what's up?
Go
And
Ducks to
and,
you.
and I am introduced by that guy right over there.
Oh, thank you. It's me. It's
Yeah.
One Take Jake, back in the saddle again. I don't know how to end it. Like, I was about to reintroduce somebody else. I was just going to flow right into it. And we're also joined.
And here we are.
It's Jennifer Lopez. Jennifer Lopez, and I took those and burritos.
And it's that ghost that we had over there. Piss off, ghost.
Piss off, ghost.
Oh, don't start that shit, dude. That reminds me, just straight getting me excited now. Last night Dave was hanging out here with me, and we were watching America's Got Talent, and this fucking group came on of Lebanese dancers. I think, is that where they were
Oh.
from?
There, yeah, I
I
think
think that's
so.
where it was.
Talent?
Yeah, and it was it was all chicks. They all had masks except for one, and they start with one chick in the front, and
Doing like the Mata
all
Hari
of them,
move?
and they're all in a line. Yeah, but then they start doing all this cool shit. Where like it looks like real snakes, and like at one point they go like this, and like meow, meow, meow. Hey, what's going on, guy? Like it's a snake, and I was like, "Fuck was that?" I got goosebumps, but it was kind of cool.
I'm just saying, if they make it to Vegas, I would
That's
pay.
the show.
I
Yeah.
would pay to see that, and I would want to take some shrooms before I,
Exactly. I was like, after
munch
it
on
was
some
over,
shrooms.
dude, it was trippy as shit.
It
And I
was trippy,
like,
and we were sober.
we were like freaking out. Oh, it was so good. Easily one of the best performances. I didn't see. Oh, the results are tonight. Maybe I'll just throw that on and see what happens.
Or with like the Oscars?
No, the results of the America's Got Talent.
Oh, there is America's Got Talent.
Yeah. They've managed to stretch America's Got Talent into 2 full nights of TV now. They're like, hey, we do a 2-hour show where everybody performs, and then we do a 1-hour show where nobody performs.
Yeah.
We just talk about it.
Well, yeah, exactly. They show you the replay and the highlights, and then they get like past contestants on, and
Yeah, I guess there's
Yeah.
supposed to be like some sort of performance from a past singer or something like that tonight.
I'm sure there's a few of them. But
Yeah.
but we watched it. It was funny because there was before Dave got to my house, there was this Japanese group, and they were so bad that Howie hit the X, and Simon's like, that was not good. I mean, in his British accent, but yeah.
Mhm.
And I
Oh,
was like,
and,
yeah.
That was
then-
no good.
and then there's another Japanese guy. He comes on and he does a yo-yo dance.
With
and it was real-
yo-yos.
With yo-yos. It was pretty. I mean, yo-yos are
Dude.
still boring to me.
I was like, what the
but-
fuck?
But what he's able to do while yo-yoing and all that, it's impressive.
Dude,
But
it
then
was
Howie goes on to say, "You've just redeemed your country."
It was funny. Yeah. Like, just let me slam that first group again.
Yeah.
Let me remind them how bad they were
hmm
and tell them that you were great.
You've brought redemption to Japan.
You're like,
And
not
that says a
since-
lot.
Not since the Nanking massacre.
Oh, dude, did you see that? The TikToks about that?
Yeah,
yeah.
that was intense.
I ended up looking up because that guy that found that book. So
Yeah.
backstory here. There's a guy who owns a pawn shop who posted a TikTok, and he's like, "Hey guys, I've got this book that a customer brought in and wants me to sell, and it's pretty cool. It's really old." And then he starts opening it, and he's like, "This has unpublished photographs because this man was there at the massacre or rape of Nanking. That was this famous historical event that Japan has basically said, it didn't happen." And
Right.
China's like, it's in Japan or China. China's like, the fuck it didn't, and the guy on the TikTok is like, I can't post these pictures because the video will get taken down immediately. But I will post them on Twitter because Twitter doesn't give a fuck.
Right.
And so I went and found him, and dude, like it shows, they would do the death by 1,000 cuts. That was a real thing. There's a guy tied to a pole, and you see he's got just slash mark after slash mark across
Wow.
his chest. And dude, the pictures are insane. And I mean, like, I vaguely remember it from history, but
I'd
that,
never heard about it at all.
yeah, and I think that's a lot of people's experience. They just had never heard of it, and so it was crazy that this guy just comes in to a random pawn shop and has this book, and since then there's been follow-up TikToks where the Chinese government has contacted this guy trying to get it, and private collectors have tried to get it, and basically the dude is like, this, if I'm involved in selling it, it's not going anywhere but to a museum or something along those lines. And I was like, well, that's good, at least. Like,
Thanks a lot, Indiana Jones.
dun, 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 dun.
It
Yeah,
belongs in a museum.
yeah. So what were we talking about before that? Because I feel like we totally went sidetracked.
You
Oh,
went,
Japanese redemption.
Japanese people being redeemed.
Yeah, that wasn't it. They were not redeemed by that. Oh, I missed that one.
America's Got Talent. Some Japanese people. Howie Mandel being mildly racist.
Yeah. Then we could have talked about the TikTok. Well, that reminded me of the TikTok story that I told
TikToking,
you
you
about.
don't stop. Yeah.
TikToking, you don't
tell me,
stop.
Tell me more of the backstory of this, because this is like.
So go ahead and play that song again.
Oh God, this song is not good.
Let me get my hands warmed up.
This is one of the worst songs you're ever gonna hear. I apologize up front. It's not good. The backstory goes like this. I'm scrolling through TikToks and I see this thing, and it's like, I can't believe that girl spent 2 years to that. And I'm like, what? And I hear the song, and then I see a bunch of other people doing the same sort of thing. And I'm like, I don't get it. And so I eventually start looking on the internet until I find the story.
And here is the song. Hudson Mohawke Cbat is the track.
Oh.
It's really good.
And Dave is adding visuals.
And then it continues like that.
So I started looking into this. Meanwhile, Dave's sitting there playing Xbox, just playing baseballs. And I'm like, I got to figure this shit out. So I look it up and finally find the story on Reddit. It was one of those, today I learned I fucked up or something like that. I don't know how it's worded, but I fucked up, basically, is what this guy posted. And this guy goes on to tell the story of, so me and this girl have been dating, or was dating for 2 years. I created a playlist for us to use when we had sex, and it has all these songs. And then that song that Jake just played was the very last song on that list, which meant that was his finisher. He was coming to the finish line.
His finishing move.
He's getting
so
there.
to speak.
Yeah, so to speak. Yeah.
It's Stone Cold Stunner, if you will.
And
What?
So him and this girl, like, she kind of eventually mentions, hey, I hate that song after 2 years. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. Well, I guess we won't do it anymore. And he went on to say, like, he hadn't had very many sexual partners, and so he thought this was a good idea. And later on, yeah, it was his pacing. Like, all the songs had similar, but not really similar, I guess, but they had pacing that you would imagine for sex. And later he goes on to explain that he had used that song before with other people and they'd never said anything. Where was I going with that? Anyway, it was the worst song ever. And so she asked him to stop. Then they were doing it later, and he just started doing the rhythm, and she's like, please stop. And he's like, what? She's like, I know what you're doing. Could
This
you
is-
imagine? Like, So anyway, that story
And
got
like
put
is
out on.
like here's the question. Now, do you think it's just or do you think it's
I think it's. I think it's more the
Mm.
second one.
later on in the maybe
that.
later
yeah, like
further along in the song, there's like a triangle on the da, 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 da. It's like a ding. Like there's a
that's like your boom. That's your
yeah.
Right.
There's a triangle.
Oh.
Because the way
And-
Jake is interpreting it is the musical.
Like
Da, da,
One,
I'm
two,
expecting
three,
you to have a
four.
little bit of rhythm in your game, a little bit of strength in your pelvic floor there, gentlemen.
Right. That I don't know if it's ever been explained if he was doing it A or B way.
Right.
But-
I would like to expect it to be B, considering this is probably a young man.
He was 25. The chick was 20.
Oof.
Yeah, so she may not have even enjoyed sex anyway at that point. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's true.
But that may
Every-
have just made
everybody
it really
knows.
bad.
Everybody knows women don't actually enjoy sex until their 40s.
Well, not with you.
That's what
Or
I've been
ever.
told.
I've heard they don't enjoy it at all. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah. Women don't. They only do it for us.
Exactly.
Benevolent.
Also, by that same logic, everybody's a squirter if you're doing it right.
I have no comment.
I can give you comments. You want comments?
No.
Oh.
No.
That's fair. All right, but yeah. So that was
So-
fun.
Speaking of like internet stories you heard today, I heard
Did it-
a fucking great one.
Did you?
Yeah, so you always have to take these with a grain of salt because you're never sure if they're like genuinely true or not, how much
Yeah.
is exaggerated. So this guy's like, yeah, I'm dating this chick and everything's cool. We've been together for a couple months, but she never wants to stay over and she never lets me stay over at her place. And so I call her out on it. I'm like, hey, why don't you let me come and stay over at your place? And she's like, well, I talk in my sleep and it's
Oh, I
really-
heard this story.
Yeah, David, you heard this one?
Nope.
It was like, I talk in my sleep and it's really, really bad. And he's like, okay, like how bad could it be? She's like, it's like really bad. Like you don't want to do it. And he's like, okay, well, whatever. So he finally talks her into it. And she's like, or what she's like, okay, look, I understand. Like if at any time it becomes too much for you, like go sleep on the couch. It's
Mhm.
totally fine. I understand. Like this is my cross to bear. Like I get it. So they go to bed and she's asleep and he's not because he's not.
Right.
Because how could you be? Like you're anticipating this shit. Like
Did I
how
be so excited?
do you right? So
Like, all right, let's hear it.
he goes to bed and he feels like this, bouncing around on the bed and he's like, what the fuck? So he sits up and looks over and she's like staring at him, like eyes wide open, just staring at him. And he's like, sup? And she's like, I'm gonna eat your skin off your bones.
And he was
and he's
like,
like-
all right, blowjob
it's like-
time.
Okay, like that's a little more than I thought I was bargaining for. And
Yeah.
then like maybe correct me on the exact wording, but she's like, if you don't go sleep on the couch, I'm going to kill you in your
Yep.
sleep.
Wait, I have heard the story.
Yeah.
All right.
So then apparently he like goes to sleep on the couch, and the whole time he can like hear her in the other room like cackling. And this whole time, like apparently she had like the "you should go sleep in your room," like the the
Yeah.
your mother knots socks in hell.
It's the
Knit-
demon
knits-
voice.
Yeah, knit socks in hell.
Yeah.
But yeah, so apparently she was like sitting there and like trying to get him to come back to the room. And like for me, dog, like
Mm-mm.
I'm just out.
I'm out
Yep.
of the house.
Bye.
Yep.
Like I'll
I don't
text
even-
you like you were right. Is what
I
I
will
is
text
just
you never. Is what it's gonna.
Oh, see, my instinct is record. I'm recording that shit. I've recorded people talking in their sleep before. I can play it for if you want to hear it. Yeah.
Hey, I've been one of those people.
Right.
Because I don't know. I mumble. Like, I don't know if I ever really say anything worth hearing, but I definitely mumble. I used to. I don't know if I still do. I'll have to ask the person who sleeps next to me.
Yeah. So I guess I do too. I say weird shit.
You do. You definitely say weird shit.
Okay. Because Sarah and the boys, well, Sarah told the boys, and so now it's kind of something like they'll randomly say to me from time to time is chicken pies $5 because apparently I called that out in my sleep one time.
Just not once.
I also said you better get that fucking porcupine. But she edited it for the boys to catch that porcupine. So the kids would be like, catch that porcupine.
Wow.
A lot of it happened when I came down to visit when I was living in Washington, and I got a rant. Like the last day I was here, I was supposed to get in my car and drive back to Washington for work. I ended up with like 103-degree fever. So I'm losing my mind, laying in bed, and they all came in to check on me, and I guess I asked them about how they feel about the universe's place for them. And I don't like, I'm half asleep, brain is fried, and I'm just like,
it's boiling, literally boiling
in my head, and I'm just like, I'm asking them about like, have you ever thought about like the universe? Like I turned into a crystal chick.
You turned into Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Right. But I was just so yeah. I guess I can see that. I mean, I say weird. Like I'm not saying murderous things, but I say some weird ass shit when I'm asleep, drunk, high.
By the way, chicken pies $5 is the name of the episode.
Chicken pies $5.
Just so we're clear.
Like I said, I've been told that I mumble things. I don't really say anything that's too coherent. Like one thing that I remember happening specifically was kind of funny. I was up in Portland. I had just gone to the Ducati party where I farted on a $250,000 motorcycle. And I was staying at this dude's house, and I fell asleep on his couch. And the only way I can explain it, if you guys know very much about sleep science.
A little.
So there's 5 stages of sleep.
Yeah.
So nightmares occur in the 4th stage of sleep, and REM, which is rapid eye movement, the 5th stage of sleep is where dreams actually occur. So typically, if you're in the 4th stage of sleep, you'll encounter body paralysis because your body does still think that it's asleep, but your brain isn't quite there with you yet. So if you're someone who experiences a lot of nightmares, and it's just a little bit of a PSA, talk to a doctor about some sort of sleep aid, because you're not getting the rest that you should have, because you're not quite achieving that subconscious level of rest. Now that that's over, apparently when I am not at my level 5, and this has happened to me before, like my body will react to the dream I'm having, like while I'm having the dream. The first time I remember this happening, I was on a bus headed back from camp, and for some reason I was having a dream about playing soccer, and the kid kicked the ball, and I put my hands up to be the goalie, and I'm sitting there asleep on the couch, or asleep on the bus, and I just go. I look over at the girl sitting next to me who's really freaked out by this weird kid who just put his hands up in the middle of the night or middle of the day took a
Somebody's
weird nap.
getting a diamond cutter.
Right. Exactly.
You try to transition to a nonchalant stretch. Yep.
Right.
I was like,
I needed that real quick.
I was having a dream. Is all I could say.
Yeah.
Right.
And then so I'm at this dude's house. Flash forward 20 years. So I'm at this dude's house and sleeping on the couch. My other buddy's sleeping on the other side of the couch, and I wake myself up by responding to a question, to my grandpa calling me in my dream, trying to get my attention from the other side of the house, like, Jake, and I'm like, yeah.
Yep. I have done that.
And I just like I look around and like, where the fuck am I? Just for
Mhm.
yeah, it's
Super
trippy.
lost. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
do
had-
you get, oh, go ahead.
Oh, I've had that. Well, I think I've told both you guys about the dream. I end up ripping off the knuckle of my hand. So when I used to live in the middle bedroom of our house, I built the very first mega bed. It wasn't very mega. It was just a big
Mostly bed.
box. Yeah, and it was like a single mattress. I don't know what that's called. Is that a single? I don't know what
That's
it's called. Anyway,
a twin.
twin mattress. There it is. That size. And to maximize this usable space in my room, I built it into the closet. So my head was in where the closet was. There's no doors, and right above my head
You basically
was
made a Murphy bed.
a 12-inch shelf. Kind of, yeah. And so in my sleep, I had a fight, and I punched up, and my knuckle caught the underside of that shelf and just fucking ripped that motherfucker. Just ripped it. Like, I wake up in pain because I'm like, what the fuck was? It's bleeding. Like,
Why am I bleeding?
yeah. And I was like, what just happened? And I look at, and there's like skin hanging on the shelf, and I was like,
Oh.
that sucked. So
I think-
yeah, I've done that before.
I think my worst one is dreams of swimming, and then you wake up and you pissed yourself.
Oh, I
Well,
haven't
see,
done
I don't have dreams of swimming.
that.
Yeah.
If I
Well,
dream that I'm swimming, I know immediately I'm lucid dreaming and I can fuck
Mm.
around.
yeah. Or like, okay, so that's a good one. Do you guys have any reoccurring dreams,
No,
or have you ever?
I have.
Okay. I have
Not
a
anymore.
very.
never.
I had this really intricate one
Okay, go.
that so it was always me and 4 friends, and I had this dream so many times. It was me and 4 friends, and it always turned out to be the 4 friends that I had spent the most time with at that time in my life.
Okay.
And so you guys have both been in the dream. So I'm thought I could have swore I've told you this, but maybe I've just had it so many times I just don't tell people anymore.
It's possible.
So you guys have both been in that dream, but basically we're in South County, Myrtle Creek, Tri-City, Canyonville area, mostly Myrtle Creek. But it's basically zombie apocalypse. So we're usually geared up, like looking like apocalypse survivors.
Daryl from
but
The Walking Dead.
right. But I have had
Only
that dream.
sexier.
I've had that dream so many times that I have legitimately, in the dream, walked to end lucid that I can control. I have walked down every street of Myrtle Creek, gone into every building, gone through every door in each building, and even the buildings that I'm not even sure what they look like.
Right.
Like, I've created it in my
You've
dream.
inceptioned the building.
Yeah, and I have gone through every like legitimately like every single thing you could do, like an open world RPG.
Right.
In my dream, I've done that with. I haven't had that dream in. Let's see. Last time I had it was a few years after I left San Diego.
Yeah.
So it's been about 7 or 8 years since I've had that dream, and I really wanted to come back because that was a fun dream.
Right.
I have never had reoccurring dreams. I do believe deeply in like the subconscious meaning of dreams, and I can generally parse out like what's going on in my life and what is affecting me and what's causing these things. So like if something happens, I'm like, oh, so like that's because I'm stressed out about this. That makes logical sense. My brain is manifesting it in this way. This is going to take a weird turn in the podcast, but I kind of think that dreaming is interdimensional travel because I've had like you talk about a reoccurring dream of going to a post-apocalyptic Myrtle Creek. I also, in my subconscious, there exists what, for lack of a better term, exists a post-apocalyptic Springfield, Oregon. Everything functions like normal, but things are just kind of shitty. It's like it's like it's got the sepia filter on it, and it's like things are just a little bit shitty. Buildings are crumbling a little bit. There are
Right.
fissures in the road where there aren't. Buildings that used to be this are now that. There's just I call it Bizarro Springfield. So, and I've gotten gas in Bizarro Springfield. I've bought milk in Bizarro Springfield. I've done all these mundane, regular tasks. And that's why I think that it has to be at some level, some sort of interdimensional, interuniversal travel, because like you don't go to Dreams to pump your gas at Fred Meyer.
Right.
Like
Right.
that there's something else there. And we've talked a little bit on this podcast, especially with people a lot smarter than us, about the timeline that we exist on. And personally, I don't think that we exist in a linear timeline. I think if you follow the second law of thermodynamics, which states that everything is moving towards a order, for lack of a better term, where I totally lost my train of thought on this, but like the time is moving in a circle, but it's also moving forward at the same time. Like if you're doing loop-de-loops on a piece of paper.
It's like a spiral, yeah.
Right. And so sometimes those loop-de-loops interact with one another.
Cross, yeah.
And I think that's what happens a lot of times potentially in the dreamscape, that where we find ourselves truly like shut off from our consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Robin,
I think
Robin has a random visual aid.
I was just
and you
Yeah.
see the time stretch here. No, but
Exactly.
like genuinely,
Yeah.
like I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not
Yeah.
trying to be. I'm also not trying to be like, oh, listen to how smart I am. But like I genuinely think about these things sometimes. Like, what if when we're dreaming, we are visiting other universes where we just exist differently?
So I have like 3 different things to say.
Yeah.
So the first one is the reoccurring dream. I used to have this reoccurring dream where I would ride. You remember those the plastic trikes that were super low to the ground?
Yes.
The
The
low
big
rider
wheels.
ones.
Big
The
wheel?
Big wheels. Yeah.
Big
Big wheel.
Wheels. Yeah. I used to have this dream where I'd get on a big wheel, and this was even like from the time I was like probably 8 to 18, 17, something like that. And I would just go out, ride it up and down my road. That was it. That was the dream. But it would just come and go, and eventually I realized that I was in that dream, and I would be like, I'm in a dream. And then I was like, if I'm in a dream, I could fly. And then I would just fucking take off and Neo myself out of there and just fly all over the place. The next thing I was going to say is I've told you guys before and I've had dreams that I feel have happened. Like,
Yeah.
I'll dream something and then I'll be like, oh shit, I dreamt this. And like when we're talking about it like this, I almost guarantee you I'll have a dream tonight and something
Something
dream
that
will
happens in the
happen.
dream.
And it's always weirdly specific. It's always something goofy. The last time it was like, I can't remember what it was, but there was a song playing.
Do you ever
And
feel it coming?
sometimes
Do you ever
I'll
feel
be
your
like,
deja vu coming? Because
I'll
it
be like-
happens.
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
like, here it comes.
I'll be
This
like,
is-
oh
like,
shit,
I don't remember what it was, but
I
it's
remember
about
this
to happen.
song. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
the song will be playing, somebody will be doing something that they would never do, and it never means anything. It's never like, hey, this week's lottery numbers are 6, 32, 14.
Right.
You know, like
It's like,
never
hey, check
anything
it
good.
out, Turbo Dong.
It'd be awesome if that happened, but no.
Right.
And then the other thing was the interdimensional travel. I just watched this video on a study on DMT and how everybody
Ayahuasca.
seems to have the exactly. Everybody seems to have the exact same experience. And it's always very personal, but it's always like it's a flash and you're in the afterlife, you're seeing, but not necessarily the afterlife. It's like you're out of your body and you're talking to these other people and these other beings. And generally the person that was doing the study was like, well, you're hallucinating. And the people are always like, no, this was 100% real. And eventually the guy shut down the study because he was like, this is starting to get too freaky to where we can't deny it, yet we have no way to explain it. And so that kind of, it just made me think of the way the interdimensional travel thing, it can't, I feel like it could just be that within our minds, we're going to be eventually able to travel outside of our body and control it and be able to explain it and remember, and other people completely understand and follow it.
Well, people joke about it, but legitimately, like, doing mushrooms really broke down my super ego and my ego, and
Right.
like it really brought me down to brass tacks and down to the studs, for lack of a better term. Like, okay, who are you? And so
Yeah.
you spend like an hour just like deeply examining yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what the true experience of mushrooms is. Like, the first time you do it is you truly like examine your psyche and find out who you are. And like, I was a different person after the first time I did mushrooms. I really was. I approached life differently. And it always sounds corny to say that sort of shit, but like, I really did feel more mindful of my situations, and
Yeah.
like, I feel like I'm a lot less hot-headed than I used to be. Like, I still fly off the handle, but like, I'm not default aggressive like I used to be. And there's a lot of reasons for that, but I think it really started when I like did mushrooms, honestly, and I realized that default aggressive wasn't the way to live your life. I remember one time I attempted to lucid dream. I was sleeping on the couch in Corvallis, and it all came down to, if I had just turned the TV off, I would have been able, or if I had put it on static like I was supposed to, but I had it on just a TV show.
Yeah.
And so when my eyes opened up, they locked onto the show. But what you can essentially do is, that feeling you get when you're in a car and you're falling asleep and you're riding that wave, kind of asleep but kind of not asleep.
Yeah.
Well, you got to get yourself really tired, to the point of where you're already near delusion. And then you kind of close your eyes and you feel yourself start to drift off. And as you feel that weight like start to push down on your body, of your body putting itself to sleep, you force your eyes open. And when you force your eyes open, you enter a state of lucid dreaming. And I forced my eyes open and I felt my body like lift. It was like, I felt the pressure of going to sleep, and then suddenly I felt like something pull my chest up. It was the weirdest thing. And then like my eyes opened and the TV was on and I was awake. But I was like, oh, I was so close.
You had it.
I was there. I did it.
Oh, almost had it.
I just got to get rid of one more rib and I'm there.
I don't know if I had the same experience when I did first time I had mushrooms.
Let me see who's in the room.
Look around.
No,
real quick.
That's a joke.
Mushrooms.
So because I didn't come out of it feeling different, other than I am never doing that again. Because I pulled a knife on a shadow dragon while taking a piss. Literally, we're in the woods.
We just talked about this too the other day.
There was a laser light show going on behind me. They had a bouncy house.
It was a big party out.
Big party
out in North Myrtle or South Myrtle. I don't remember. Way out there.
But I go out to take a leak and I see the shadows and I literally pull a knife that's about that long.
Tactical knife.
It was my, so I used to ride a Harley a lot and I carried a knife on me
to fend off the other guys that wanted.
Because I was a fucking douchebag. But anyway, so I pulled this knife out and I was like, let's fucking go, Shadow Dragon. But I've always, whenever I'm drunk or high, I've always been able to, like, in my head, to be like, hey, you're fucked up right now.
There goes his
Like-
mom walking behind.
But I've always been able to like tell myself, hey, you're being really dumb right now.
Yeah.
So I was sitting there and I was like, oh man, like this is the story you read about some guy in the woods doing mushrooms and he kills his buddy.
Yeah.
So I was like, I
Oh.
put this away, I took it off and I went and put it in my bike bag. And
Hi, Dave's mom.
you guys say hi, Mom.
Hi.
She said hi.
That's a Dave's mom podcast debut.
No, she was on here like 2 weeks ago.
See,
Was she?
proof that I'm brown. I just keep her around to do my dishes and laundry.
No, I don't mean to be insensitive, but is brown the right color?
I mean, no, we're not that Asian. We're like,
No,
we're
South
like,
Pacific Asian.
yeah. So
Oh
South,
my God.
Still
South
brown.
Pacific Asian, still brown. All right, all right.
Okay.
We share a little bit more with Pacific Islanders than we do Asians,
Okay. all right.
depending on who you ask, in my opinion.
Mhm.
But anyways, also
Anyways, Pat, what were we talking about? Doing drugs.
back to
Uh,
drugs.
Yeah, drugs.
I was also later. I remember looking at the moon and convinced myself I was living in the Matrix.
well,
And then-
May not have been wrong.
yeah,
Like that's part of that's part of
yeah.
that's part of the experience. Is suddenly
Mhm.
you start to notice things.
Mhm.
But I thought the moon was square. All right,
No, that's just because you have
the
bad
B
vision.
square.
that
The
might be it
moon
too.
is a square.
The moon is
and-
a square is the name of the episode.
And then And then I was found curled up in the middle of a grass field, a hay field, crying.
Yep, I've been there.
Yep.
Yep,
So
you had an emotional dump. You peaked as high as you could go, and then your
Mhm.
body fucking took you as low as it go right afterwards. You had an
Mhm.
emotional dump. Those are
Yeah.
incredibly cathartic, and you feel great afterwards. Because you get all the dopamine comes back after you cry.
yeah,
All the dopamine rushes into your system.
Maybe.
It's fucking amazing.
yeah. I've never really been a crier though, so
Oh,
afterwards
I
I just kind of felt
fucking
like
cry
shit.
about everything. I cry about everything. I'm a wet passion kind of person.
Mm. I'm a silent sob in my room so that no one can hear me. You know, as I clench my fist and punch myself.
You're like,
I like
ow.
Mountain Dew.
And then this
Is it-
too.
Yeah.
I remember for some reason it just popped into my head there, like when the donkey show was still a thing, and it was like
Mhm.
just a bump from the radio. It was like, and now Tanner will wear a bonnet. It's like, yeah, I'm Tanner. I'll still punch myself in the neck. Ow!
It's a good one. Huh. Well, so that's
Well,
fun.
So that's our talk about drugs and dreams and Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah.
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica.
Well,
Did
I mean,
you
but
see
there's
that?
a lot of studies on psychedelics and stuff like that for mental
Right.
health.
Yeah.
So I've
absolutely.
been kind of reading up on it a little bit because everyone's got mental health issues.
Yeah.
Everybody's fucked up in their own head.
I'm
for
convinced
some reason or the other.
microdosing of mushrooms is not a terrible idea, and more people should do it.
I probably should microdose mushrooms if I'm
Mm.
being 100% honest.
Like
I should
it sounds,
probably
the term microdosing is such a douchey thing, but at the same time, if it works, then fuck it. Who cares?
Are you
It's-
gonna
it's-
start wearing a bowler cap and drinking IPAs now?
No, fuck IPAs. But it's
Mm.
essentially what you're saying is I'm going to take 2 milligrams of this thing in an otherwise sugar pill, and it's going to modify my behavior in a way similar to that. You see, that's what, like, I know I'm ADHD. Like, one of my, like, someone told me once, you guys are
Same.
familiar, are you guys familiar with John Boyce?
I know that name.
He's on, he's one of the Secret Base creators.
Was
He
he on Joe Rogan at some point?
Possibly. He did the Mariners video, the 4-hour video.
Oh
about
yeah,
the
yeah,
Pittsburgh
yeah.
Seattle Mariners.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
that-
Oh, by the
that
way,
dude.
side note, I did watch that. A lot of things came up that I was like, oh, I knew that about the Mariners, but I
But
never
you'd
put it
forgotten.
all together. I didn't put it all together.
Right.
So thanks for leading me onto that. That was a
Oh
good
yeah.
watch.
Everything he does is fantastic. Like, he has a series called Pretty Good about stories about athletes that are pretty good. Yeah, but everything he does is cool. Like, and I said to Alex back when he was still on the show, I was like, man, John Boys is what I would be like if I followed through on a blah blah blah. And he's like, no, John Boys is you if you took your medication. And I was like, that's fucking fair, okay? But here's the problem. My brain has been fucked up this way for so long. I know how to operate the machine. And I like personally we talk about microdosing psilocybin. Like I am more okay with taking a natural thing in a microdose like that than I would be taking a pharmaceutical drug that has a brand name.
Right.
Like I'm just not. It's like I would rather have insomnia than have medicated sleep. Maybe that's a flaw, but that's just the way I am. I'd rather not sleep than sleep like induced under some sort of chemical that's going to that could possibly make my brain start doing weird shit. Give me those fucking weird dreams that I don't like so I can't actually rest.
Yeah.
These are the things that I think about. I'm like, do I really want to start going down this road? But if microdosing psilocybin, if using a natural derivative is an option, I'd much prefer that.
Right. Well, and you can also go as low as you want.
Right.
Because you understand how much it took to have the trip. So let's go 1% of that and see what happens.
My problem is I don't understand when enough is enough sometimes.
You don't have the
Right?
See,
Because
I have a problem with mushrooms too, like because they take a while to hit. So I'll be like, did I have enough?
Get
And so
impatient, and
I'll
you're
have
like,
more,
try
and
some
then
more.
I'm like, oh no, too much.
well, I think too that was my issue because we were hanging out with a bunch of people that do this every year.
Oh
Right.
my god, yeah.
And it was my first time, and you guys have
They're
been
season
around.
ticket holders, and
Yeah, they're
this is
season
the first
ticket
time.
holders, and you know me, like when I go and do something and I'm having fun,
Right.
I just don't stop.
Mhm.
I've gotten
True.
better with age, but when I'm having fun, nothing is off the table. Well, you know what I mean. Most
I
things
do
we
know what you mean, Dave.
most things that we encounter aren't off the table.
Right.
And I will just keep going because I'm enjoying it. So they gave me the little brownies to eat, and I think I had one or two of them, and they're like, cool, wait. And I'm sitting there and I was like, and I remember I was drinking heavily at this time.
Heavily.
And I was like, even alcohol doesn't take this long, and I've built up a tolerance. So they had a bag full of them, and I just handful it
Oh my god.
and just start chowing down, and everyone's
No.
looking at me like I'm a madman. And I was like, big old beard, tattooed biker, and I'm like, I'm about to go fucking berserker on this shit. No, I went berserker on my emotions in the middle of a hayfield.
Yeah.
I had something similar to that happen to me with pot before. Like I was a baby stone. Like I had only just recently started smoking weed. I didn't know how to get it on my own, so I just had to smoke other people's weed. I was at that level.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know that the Muddy Buddies in the back seat were laced. I ate like half a bag because I was hungry.
Oh no.
And like I slept from Seattle to like Portland. I got woken up because we were supposed to go to Hooters.
Yeah.
And like I get woken up in the back seat. They're like, "Hey man, you ready?" I'm like, "Ready for what?" They're like, "We're at Hooters." I'm like, "Cool. Do they have wings?"
Oh man.
Well, I've got some stuff going the other direction. Some party drugs hiding out here in this building, and I'm looking forward to doing those. Those are things that I enjoy too. But those are like, it's like you have to invest an entire night and pretty much the next day to do it.
Okay.
It's the letter before Y.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I figured.
And it's.
Hold on.
D, E, F, G, H, I, J.
But
Yeah.
got some of that, and that's definitely.
Dude, this whole fentanyl thing though has got me freaked out about getting anything. Like
I got my stuff from a good source.
I've seen the fake oxy pills, and I'm like, that's not real. What are you doing? That's not how that works.
Yeah.
Well, the guy I got him from says he takes them all the time. That doesn't mean shit to me. That just means he's a fucking guy who's taking him a bunch. That doesn't. He hasn't died yet. Okay.
He hasn't died yet.
Is that the goal? Because if that's
Also,
the goal,
side note, I think the actual name of the show should be Drugs and Dreams. But
Drugs. I mean, that's just kind of.
it's kind of what it's.
overall
Welcome to
topic.
Drugs and Dreams with Dave.
I'm writing that down.
So do you guys remember when Spice first came out?
Like the
Yes.
porno.
No. The synthetic weed.
I do.
Oh, yeah, totally. That's what I knew. I knew we were talking about that.
Yep.
Oh, you mean the strip club?
Yeah.
The channel, right?
They've got some great steak bites, BT
No,
dubs.
they don't. No, they don't, Dave. Don't lie. We both had the steak bites at Spice.
Wait, is it Spice? What's the other one in Portland? Is it Portland? Spice is in Portland, right?
I know what
Spice
you're
is in
talking
Portland,
about.
but it's also in Springfield.
What is the one you're
Okay,
talking
It
about?
then became Phil's Clubhouse.
The one in Portland that has the owner of the strip club also owns a ranch, and all the beef.
Les Schwab.
Fuck, I can't. I know what you're talking about. I'm gonna text Brian and see if he gets back to me.
Yep. So anyways, Spice first hits the market. I was still in the Navy at the time, and I wasn't a huge pothead, but I had smoked enough before I joined.
Enough.
Yeah, enough before I joined. So when Spice hits the market, first thing we know is they don't have a way to test for it in the military. So
were you also in on sativa or not sativa? That's a strain. What was it? What was it called? Salvia.
Salvia, yeah. I've never done that one. But so we got some of that Spice, and it was 10 o'clock in the morning. We had just drank all night long. We ran down to a head shop, or it was just a gas station at the time. But we picked up some of the Spice, and we smoked it at 10 in the morning.
Acropolis.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
The A crop.
The A crop. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to the A crop.
Can confirm.
Mm-hmm.
Also shout out to Purple Church, Oceanside, California. Just because I'm thinking about strip clubs now. You got a great massage there. So as we smoked the Spice at 10 o'clock in the morning, I was high until 2 in the morning the next day.
Jesus.
Because a bunch of us who had smoked pot previously got this Spice, and we're like, we're gonna smoke it, not really taking into account that we hadn't smoked in 2 or 3 years because we're in the military.
Right.
So we just start hitting this stuff, and next thing I know, I do that thing like I did with mushrooms, where I start freaking out because I think my brain is stuck.
Oh, God.
I convince myself that this is how I'm going to think the rest of my life, and so apparently drugs and Dave equals mental breakdown.
Yep.
That's fair.
Drugs and Dave.
Except for that one great stuff.
Yeah, there've been a few times when we've had other adventures.
Dude, we get intellectual as shit.
Yeah, talking about all sorts of fun stuff. Man. Brian texted me back, Acropolis.
Yep.
Nice job,
Way to go, Brian.
I found it on my own.
Let's be friends.
Thank you, sir. So, what time we meeting on Saturday?
So I was thinking probably getting there about 12:30 or 1. I'll have a half pint in tow, so I've got to take into account that he's not as fast as me.
Okay. My plan is to be there at 11:30, and that's at the latest. I am leaving my house at 9.
Okay.
Gonna be there probably 11:40 or 11:30, because they start to let people in at 11:30 now.
Gotcha.
Um,
We're trying to
I-
figure that out too, because it's like the game's at 5, and they said it's 5 hours before
oh,
they
is it
let you in.
5 now? Because
No,
I
it's
thought it was
5:30.
5:30.
I'm sorry, 5:30.
Okay. Yeah, so
So is
5:30
it
is 11:30, which means you could line up at 10:30.
okay? So here's what like I was basing it on. I thought we couldn't get in until 12:30. So I'll try to be there. I'm planning on be there about noon then.
Okay. I'll be
I'll
there.
yeah,
I'll
I'll
be
have
there.
I'll have the big
As
old
will I.
sandwiches.
Oh, hey Robin, do you have room for me still? Or
Probably.
have you planned around it since I said I would drive myself?
I have not planned because I'm
The thing we're talking about, folks, is the fact that we get to open up tailgating this week, and we
Yeah.
have been waiting for this for 9 months.
9 times.
Nine
No, that's Ferris
times
Bueller.
has the month changed, and we've been waiting for football. Yet here it is, and we are getting to make
Here we
our.
are. We're back again.
We're back again. It's another
Tailgating
edition. It's
season.
another episode of tailgating, and we're gonna get the whole squad back together.
I think
Host
Captain
squad
America
band
is
Back
gonna make
together.
an
We're on a
appearance.
mission from God. Like it's about to go down. Like
It's
I am
about
so looking forward to
go
this
down.
season. Like
Mhm.
let's go Ducks.
Yeah.
and
Whoo.
And
Yeah.
and I don't have the added like 45-minute trek to Junction City and back to worry about every time now.
Right. That's true.
Mhm.
I'm bringing a bunch of stuff for you and Bales. Things
Excellent.
that I've collected over the last year that I haven't shipped to either of you.
Fair.
I think I have 2 bags of stuff for you
so
and
I
one for
hope
Bales.
you've got a large bag.
Because I'm putting my bike in it.
Yeah, bring your bags.
Bring your
Or I
bags.
can- yeah, I'm just really excited to be here.
Dude, I can't wait.
So I think I'm gonna grab a pizza. You say you're bringing sandwich.
I'm bringing two of those big ass sandwiches from Winco. One of them's gonna be the Italian, yeah, and one of them's gonna be the all American.
I'll bring plates and knives to cut with. Some
probably gonna
forks.
get some
You probably won't
chicken.
need forks. Get some chicken.
Chicken. Let me guess. Take the
You
chicken.
got chicken. But I'm excited to have the 6 hours because now we have time to set up, chill, and then go visit everybody.
Right, because
Mhm.
before it was set up and go visit.
4 hours is
Yeah.
too tight of a window. I mean,
Yeah.
like that sounds stupid, but when you're there and you've got your tailgate set up, and then you got games on, you're like, oh, I want to just sit here.
You want to hang out at your tailgate, but the problem is we've been waiting for this. Other people have been waiting for this
Right.
for 9 months.
Exactly.
And so we want to go see the people we've been wanting to see. Like,
Mhm.
and especially now in the post-COVID era when like we
Right.
weren't allowed to tailgate, like we feel like we're missing some time. And like there were people who were just now coming back for the first games.
Mhm.
So like this is the real season for me that where people are starting to come back to tailgate
Yeah.
and starting to actually do it. Like last year was for the diehards. This year is for when everyone else comes back. And this is what I expect. I expect better attendance this year at games, and I expect like better tailgate.
Because honestly, tailgating was kind of sparse last year. There weren't all the corporate things like we would always go to the what was that community credit or no
Oregon Community Credit Union.
OCCU. Yeah. They always had good shit and always inviting to everybody and
And
that
I
wasn't
was
there,
I used to be a member like 10 years ago, and I've parlayed that into a relationship with everybody at OCCU. Like, hey guys, remember me from last year?
Yeah.
Right. Well, and only people that tailgate will understand. Like, well, yeah, we'll understand this, but your tailgate friends.
Only tailgate will understand.
Right.
Like this, we're all tailgate friends.
Exactly.
But we are. I mean, Jake, that's why I know you. But we're also friends.
Yeah.
Like we're actual friends. But like the people that you're only friends with at tailgate.
That's fair. Okay, yeah.
You know, like
Jed.
Yeah, Jed. I don't see Jed. I don't even know who Jed is really. If you line him up with a bunch of random dudes from a tailgate, I'm not gonna know who he is. But you get me drunk, and you walk me to his tailgate, Jake from tailgating.
Still in my phone.
But you take me to Jed's, and Jed and I get along famously.
Jed's one of the coolest guys I know.
We slam a few beers, we eat some food, we talk, like we bullshit, we played some games.
Mm-hmm.
But if I see Jed on the street tomorrow afternoon, I'm not going to acknowledge him. He's not going to acknowledge me. We're not even going to know that we know each other.
It's like I know he's in a band, and I feel like I'm supposed to show up at some point, but
I'm pretty sure I've convinced myself that he's in Fozzy, but I know that's not true.
No, it's Cutter is the name of the band.
Cotter.
Cotter.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Cotter. Yep, that's it.
But yeah, no, I get what you mean though. Like I used to work with a guy, and now it's like if I were to see him at tailgate, I'd be like, oh hey coach, I don't really have anything else to say.
Right.
Mhm.
There's like EJ and Tracy. We're
Well,
those
EJ
motherfuckers.
Yeah.
EJ. Like
Well, I mean, when you kind of do the deed with maybe two of their sisters,
one or two of the sisters. Yeah.
one or two of their
Yeah,
sisters.
maybe they don't
get-
they don't like you around.
I
Oh,
mean,
they love me.
yeah, what are you talking about?
They're just really confused why their sister like keeps playing the lesbian game and doesn't just,
Yeah. It's like the opposite of the crying game.
Yeah.
The laughing game?
Maybe.
Maybe.
They've laughed, so I'm gonna allow it.
I mean, there was a time when I was known as David the Lesbian Whisperer Deaton.
It's true.
In your own circle or in
This is circles.
In a few. Some
Sure.
overlapping circles.
Well, hey.
Well, these people, they could have been anywhere in the world, but they're here with us. We appreciate that. Make sure you're checking us out on YouTube if you want to see our beautiful, stunning, and handsome faces. But for this episode, this edition of my show with Alex and Jake, good night, universe.
That's podcast.
Yeah, go get yourself some drugs and dreams.
Yeah, go Ducks.
See you someday, Alex.
Go Ducks, you son of a bitch. All you sons of bitches.